Hi, I'm Peter Tragos, host of the Lawyer You Know podcast and YouTube channel. The saying goes, everyone hates lawyers until you need one. Well, I'm here when you need one to answer your questions and give you insight that you didn't know you needed. Along with my partners, Pete Sardis, the professor, who has a finance and business background, and George Tragos, my dad, and the consigliere, a criminal defense giant, we can answer any questions you have. What's up, everybody, and welcome into the Lawyer You Know. Today is a crazy busy day, but we want to do a couple lives this week since we're getting close to 2 years. Today, we'll talk a little bit about my office setup, how I set it up, why I set it up the way I did, kind of as a behind the scenes, a look at the office. I wish you could see this wall. It's pretty cool, but I'm using my computer webcam, so that wouldn't work. But we'll talk about that, and then it's also going to be kind of like a modified case by case because I want to talk a little bit about Vanessa Bryant's case, how the jury made a mistake, what the judge did, and how these cases get paid, because a lot of people had objections and issues with such a big verdict against the county, wondering how it gets paid and who actually gets punished. We're going to talk about that, and I'm actually going to clip that out and repost it tonight. So if you're watching this now, you do not have to watch it again tonight. People get angry sometimes when we cut it out. But I want everybody that's interested specifically in that Vanessa Bryant content to be able to watch it tonight. And then we'll also talk a little bit about Tom Girardi. Yet another article comes out about how he's pretty despicable, gives lawyers a bad name, especially PI lawyers. And of course, we'll do a lot of Q&A. I've got about 30 minutes here during the lunch hour to hang out with all of you, and there's no place I'd rather be. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, so you can make sure to follow all the content on our page and comment and like and all the things that let us know you're interested in the content we're bringing. And of course, if you want to join the member crew like Nurse DSL, Evangeline Light, and T. Newton, you can do that as well. The memberships do cost money. Subscribing and liking and those things do not. And let me see here. Give me 1 second. All right. Decibel Chaos said, hoping to catch this before bedtime here. Waiting for a local law firm now. Thanks for the inspiration. Thank you. And we will get to lots of things. I think the first thing we should do as people are coming in is just kind of give a little breakdown of the setup of my office. So I have a whiteboard on that wall that has some confidential info on it. So we're not going to span the camera all the way over there, but I will show you parts of the other parts of the office. I have my computer table here, my computer desk here that I've got some drawers in with files and stuff that I work on. And then my computer is kind of mounted on the wall on a shelf. It's the iMac computer. If anybody checked out when I did that review of it, and I absolutely love it. I have my Shure. Oh, this was probably a risk. Hopefully my mic didn't go out. I have the Shure microphone right here that I use for videos. I've got some lights and stuff set up for certain videos. Obviously, I've got the lighting behind us. I have some bourbon and on that barrel with my 100K YouTube play button. I am still waiting on the wooden play button from Rob from Law and Lumber. And since my last golf tournament with the FJA is done, the next one I will be planning is with Rob. So I am looking forward to that. This is kind of like my working table behind me. This is where I'll, put out files. I'll have laptop or iPad on here, and I'll do a lot of work on this table because there's not a lot of room on the computer desk. So this is kind of the working table that I have. That bookshelf back there is full of books that I like, books that I use and reference, some that are just for show, like the legal books. We kept a lot of the legal books where cases that my dad was referenced in. We kept some of those. I've got some YouTube artifacts or things people sent me, like the hat from Wisconsin, the Mega Pint, the Uhtred tool, I'll call it. I've got a nameplate that I think my mom gave me when I graduated from college that says Attorney Peter Tragos. Golf trophies, the Bible on the top shelf, along with a closing arguments book that was written by Levin Papantonio, which is a PI firm up in the Panhandle. They gave it out to all the FGA members, as well as the Johnny Depp creative writing journal that somebody sent me from YouTube, which is really cool too. And that is also on that bookshelf. But that is not the only bookshelf. There's a lot of wires connected here, but I'm going to try to turn the camera as much as I can without knocking anything over here. So you can kind of see the rest of my office, and you guys might be familiar with what this looks like. So this is where I film a lot of other videos as well. And you've seen me on the couch or in those brown chairs. If me and my dad are doing it, or me and Pete or something, and I'm doing kind of an interview style, we'll do it over there. We'll set up the actual stationary camera. There's another bookshelf over there with more law books, a big evidence book, some golf trophies, and actually some cool stuff from Pete's office. The statue and the sailboat are from Pete's office. And then an award that I got recently that I can't remember what it's for, but I got an award recently, and it's on that bookshelf as well. And that's a nice hangout spot if clients come in here or somebody comes in to visit. And that is a custom-made table by my buddy Kyle Malloy. Kokomo Surf is his Instagram handle. He makes surfboards and things out of wood. So he made me that table. He is also, we've talked about Surfaces, and Forrest Frank, the main singer of Surfaces. That's how I know Forrest Frank, is Kyle Malloy is his brother-in-law. And they used to go to our church, which is cool. So I was good friends with him. They actually moved to Hawaii, so I don't see him as often as I used to, but I love him. And then, we got the plant and stuff like that. A couple things on the wall. Those black rectangles on the wall. Does anybody know what those are for? Those are to try to help the echo, because it is kind of hard floor, hard wall, hard ceiling, no carpet. We have a couple throw rugs. And then, of course, I have my golf putting green behind me as well. One day, I was going to show you the coffered ceilings because they're really cool as well, and the brick wall and stuff like that. My buddy, Andy Park, is a general contractor, and he is in this building with us, actually owns this building and redid the whole thing and did a great job, and it looks really cool. And we one day need to do like a slow tour of the whole office. If you guys are interested in that, let me know in the comments and we'll take some time to do that. I know it's not everybody's thing. You're here for the law stuff, which I totally get. Spy C Dre Company, thanks for the coffee this morning. You are welcome. There is still money on the card left. If you go follow us on Instagram at Tragos Law, we have a coffee giveaway barcode that people can go and check it out and buy a coffee on us or get a coffee on us. Decibel Chaos, gorgeous office. Love the flooring. Did you get into golf with your dad? Ace surfboard table. So the flooring is really cool, and it's actually, what do they call it? Luxury vinyl. It's not wood. It looks like wood, obviously, but it's luxury vinyl, which is indestructible. When we moved in, there was a couple pieces that got messed up. They were able to just heat it up, pull it out, replace it. Worked really great and was really cool. And I got into golf with my dad, yes, pretty much right after law school. Welcome to Peter's crib, Azam said. Stella by the Sea, I would love to see the ceiling, the brick, and everything. Love the architecture. Before and afters would be good too. I actually do have some before and afters. That's a good idea. Yeah, we could do that. We could probably work that into a video pretty easily. And Rita said, yes, tour. So yeah, let me know if you guys do want to do that. And we'll try to make it happen. Sean, what did you think of the two lawyers for the defense crying in the Parkland trial during graphic testimony? Do you think you'd ever cry as a client? Would they want your lawyer crying to the other side? Probably not. Usually you have to control your emotions, but it does get really emotional sometimes. And it's difficult, but yeah, I would say usually you want to try to keep your emotions out of it if you can. We have been here just right basically during COVID is when we moved. So the build out was kind of before COVID and then into COVID. And that's basically when we moved. So a little over 2 years. All right, let me take a minute while you guys are getting all your questions in. And I am going to kind of just talk a little bit about what happened with Vanessa Bryant in that case recently and go through a lot of your objections. People had legitimate objections and questions in the comments. So Vanessa Bryant and her case, her $16 million verdict against LA County has been reduced by $1 million. The judge found, and I guess it was agreed upon, that the jury made a mistake and they tried to give the two sets of plaintiffs, the two families involved the same amount of money, $15 million each. But instead, they gave Vanessa Bryant $15 million and the other family, $16 million and the other family $15 million. So now they're equaling it out, and Vanessa Bryant's verdict has technically been dropped to $15 million. Apparently, they've agreed with that, and that is something that is happening. I haven't seen the official court documents or seen official reporting on it, but that would make sense if it did, and I'm sure Vanessa Bryant probably won't care. And people were complaining a little bit that she's so rich, they have so much money, what's she going to do with another $15 or $16 million? And to be fair, that's a good question, but that's not what the case is about. There are actually jury instructions that say you cannot take that into account. How much money somebody has or does not have cannot play a role in the verdict that you give to them. However, it's a totally understandable question for somebody to ask. And Vanessa Bryant has come out and very publicly stated that she is going to donate the proceeds to their foundation to help people in need. I believe it's called the Mamba Foundation or something like that. And they are going to help people in need. It's not just going to be more money for her to spend on stuff. She's been very clear about that. They're very big in philanthropic efforts. So that wouldn't surprise me one bit if she was giving that money. But the bigger question and bigger concern for most of you as taxpayers and citizens of different states and countries is when you sue the county and the county loses big like this for $15 million, doesn't that just hurt the citizens of that county? And the answer is not necessarily. So yes, taxes can go up because of that. That is something that can happen. But many times, especially LA County and the bigger counties, will have insurance policies. They have insurance policies in place to cover a lot of this. That's number one. Number two, they have reserves sometimes that will cover a lot of this. And number three, if it were you, would you want taxpayers to say, I don't want my taxes to go up hundreds or thousands of dollars to pay off this verdict? Well, what if somebody, a government worker or a county worker, did this to you or your family, or even worse than what they did to Vanessa Bryant, and actually were negligent in causing a wrongful death, either by negligently driving a car as a police officer or not building or keeping up a building the way that they should because it was too expensive and the building collapses and your families die? Those are really hard questions and brutal questions to think about. But that's why we have the civil justice system, so that a jury can come considering all those things and come up with a number. And yes, some of the burden may come on the taxpayers, but what can the taxpayers do? The taxpayers could vote out the people in office that allow this or that are in power when this stuff happens and didn't fire these employees or didn't make sure that things were done right to keep up buildings and make them safe, or make sure proper training or procedures are in place. Okay, you can vote them out. Number two, you can put pressure in your local communities and your local government authority that they need to have insurance policies in place. Insurance policies are much cheaper, even if the taxpayers have to pay a part of that, than having these huge verdicts come down, especially as sovereign immunity caps seem to be going up around the country, not down. So we're dealing with imperfect people, and we're dealing in an imperfect world. We're dealing in a world where people make mistakes and people are seriously injured, hurt. Their lives are changed because of these mistakes. So we can either tell them, sorry, this person happened to work for the government and I don't want my taxes to go up, so you have to deal with not having your father provide for you and your family for the rest of your life. Or we can try to put things in place to where there are insurance policies in place, or there are reserves in place, so that these people can be protected if something bad does happen. It's the same argument that insurance companies try to make to the general public all the time to make them hate personal injury lawyers that go get, we got $1 million verdict. And people say that's the reason everybody's insurance rates are going to go up, because we got that verdict against Progressive. So if you have Progressive, now your rates are going to go up because of me. The truth is, insurance companies make billions of dollars with a B every year. The industry is absolutely booming. And whether or not there are these $1 million verdicts from PI lawyers, they're going to raise your rates. Whether I have a claim or not, my rates go up $20 or $30 or $50 a month every year. They are never not going to make billions of dollars. And that is something that we all have to understand as a society, and not to punish victims of civil cases because of the government or insurance companies or big companies that want these trickle down effects of, if they have to pay something, you're actually going to have to pay it. Therefore, I'm not going to make them pay it, even though they're responsible for it. To me, that is not the correct way to look at it. For me personally, I'm also this is an area where you can absolutely call me biased because I am a plaintiff's personal injury lawyer who fights for injured victims. So I see what these victims go through, and I see what these big companies and insurance companies and even governmental agencies try to do to make sure they do not have to pay full value for the case. And they will use anything they can, including talking to the citizens and trying to get them to think the money is directly coming out of their pocket so they don't want to give it to the injured victims. And that's the stuff that frustrates me and does bother me about the Vanessa Bryant situation. That's what bothers me about, jury verdicts when we're dealing with insurance companies and we're dealing with car accidents where somebody else is at fault. You're just sitting at a red light, or you're just passing through an intersection and somebody T-bones you, or somebody runs a red light and hits you, or smashes in from behind because they're on their phone. But because my premiums may go up, I'm not going to compensate you for that. And sorry, I know that sucks, but good luck with your insurance bills. Good luck with not being able to work for 6 months. And I think we have to look at it big picture and full picture and understand that maybe what people tell us, especially big companies and insurance companies that have enough money to advertise during commercials in the Super Bowl and put their name. This was a good question somebody said to me. It's funny. We look at all these stadiums around the country, football stadiums, baseball stadiums. And I don't know if it wouldn't surprise me if one was named after a personal injury lawyer at this point, but how many of them are named after insurance companies? They have enough money to buy and sponsor football stadiums and football fields and Super Bowl ads and golfers and everything. And yet they're pointing the finger at, slimy, blood-sucking, greedy PI lawyers as the problem and why the rates are going up. I think it's much more expensive to buy a football stadium than it is to pay all of the verdicts that happened in the last 6 months in Florida so far in 2022. So just gonna throw that out there. But yeah, Vanessa Bryant, it's all not going to come out of the taxpayers' dollars. There is going to be some insurance there. I'm pretty sure about that, especially with it being LA County. So if you have any questions about the Vanessa Bryant case, go ahead and throw them in the comments and I'll try to get to as many of them as I can. Okay. Let's get to some questions here. And then I've got about 15 minutes. And if we have time after, then we'll talk Tom Girardi and the craziness that's going on there. Sonia Orr, what's your least favorite part about Florida for those who have never been? Right now, it is brutally hot and muggy. That is really the only thing I don't like about Florida is how hot it gets. Onya Mark, any update on the Vallow case? I just did a video recently with a hearing that they had. That's the last thing that I've seen in that case. How long has your firm been around? I want to say 40 years, somewhere between 35 and 40 years ago. My dad started it after working at he was a federal prosecutor. So after he was a federal prosecutor, he opened up the firm, been around ever since. Thomas Joseph, want to comment on the latest live signings? What's interesting to me is some other players, I can't remember who it was, maybe was it Rory? I can't remember who it was, said, so what happens if you were one of the players that was there before and you had to forego being part of the PGA? Now they bring in bigger players and you get booted out. I know they have alternates and stuff like that, but at a certain point they have to cap it and you're off, or are they going to keep expanding the list of alternates? Because is that going to be a risk if you're not a Phil Mickelson or Bryson DeChambeau and you join live? Is it possible that somebody bigger and brighter and more important than you joins and you get booted off and now you've got nowhere to go because you can't go back to the PGA Tour? Very interesting. Joe Bob Geek, what type of dye did you use to get that color in your hair? You can find it on any store shelf. It's called El Natural. This is just my natural hair color. There are some grays in there. Can you see them? There's some grays. I have seen comments on previous videos where red dot is noted. What does that mean? Jen Hoff asks. Certain dangerous or flight risk defendants that are in custody sometimes are red dot. They're on a special secure floor. You can't bring certain things to them. You have to sit in special smaller rooms that are closed and locked with a guard standing outside of you, even as a lawyer meeting with them. So they're just kind of a more dangerous or risky defendant. Betsy Barnhouse, donate, not pledge. Yes, I think Bryant is planning on donating. Cheryl Maston, thank you so much for the super sticker. Terry D, What golf course is on your shirt? It is the old course in St. Andrews. I bought this shirt when I went and played it in 2019. Best course ever. Rita Castillo, yes. Hit that like and subscribe and share button. Bobby Cat, I live in LA County and taxes here are insane. LA County has the money. You're right. People complain until it happens to them. Wishing you and the chat a great day. Unfortunately, I need to get back to work. Thank you, Bobby. And yeah, it's true. I don't ever like to put my hand in anybody's pocket. So I don't like to say, oh, big deal, your taxes go up a little bit. It is a big deal, and I get that it's a big deal. But it's not as big of a deal as someone losing their dad or someone losing a family member or having to go through what the Bryants had to go through in this case. And it's totally inappropriate and unacceptable behavior by county employees. And like I said, the way you fix that is something like this makes them change or gets them out of office or makes them get insurance. So if something like this happens in the future, they're on notice that it can happen and that employees of the county are doing this just like any other company. So they need to know that. There's plenty of money to go around there. I agree with that. Ashley Ducharme. I finally watched The Last Kingdom and now get all of the Uhtred references here. Great show. Why haven't you watched Game of Thrones? I didn't care to watch it, but ended up loving it. Highly recommend. Honestly, Ashley, the main reason I haven't watched Game of Thrones is because it just seems so daunting to even start it because I know it's so many crazy worlds and characters and all of those things. So maybe I will one day, but probably not. New Chris, will the Parkland shooter get the death penalty? You asked the perfect question. If it were you, Vanessa had the right to sue. Thank you, New Chris. I agree with you. I would lean toward the death penalty. That's what I would lean. What would you guys think? Anna Marie Mitchell, thank you so much for the super sticker. Ashley, hey, Peter, do you guys ever take cases in other areas of Florida or do you tend to stay down in that area? All over Florida easily, especially if it's, what we do and it's injury cases, car accidents, slip and fall, wrongful death cases, catastrophic injury cases. We take them all over Florida. We have some in other states as well. And we're barred and allowed to practice in some other states. So reach out to us if you ever have a question. We're happy to help. Some people get angry when they ask me about a case that's something I just don't handle. I'll try to connect you, but if I don't know everybody in every state, but I try to do my best. So yeah, if you have a question, especially in Florida, dealing with an injury case, reach out. New Chris, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? If they didn't take the pictures of the crash and pass them around, Vanessa wouldn't have had a reason to sue. I mean, yeah, to me, it's pretty clear. Whether the chicken or the egg is the wrongdoing of the county employees, that's what came first. She definitely didn't sue and then find out what they did, and that's not what you're saying. But I just want to point that out. Azam, Peter, off topic. Could you please wish happy birthday to my mom? Today is her birthday, September 1st. Thanks, Peter. Well, that's interesting because it's August 31st here. So I will wish her a happy birthday there and a happy birthday tomorrow here to Azam's mom. Azam's mom. Patty B Photography. We were deemed 0% at fault after an accident 2 years ago, and they are fighting us tooth and nail. No end in sight to receiving any sort of compensation. Insurance companies can delay as long as they want, and you just have to deal. And the insurance companies billing, the lawyers are billing them all the time on the case to delay and make it take longer as opposed to go to trial, prove if you had no fault, and you won't have to pay anything to the person if you have no fault in the case and didn't cause any of their injuries. Absolutely. Not every case is legitimate. I would never say that. I have people call me and I tell them their case is not legitimate, especially if they say I'm not hurt, but I want to get money. I say, well, I can't help you because I can only get money for people that are actually hurt and against drivers that are actually at fault. So this is absolutely, there's two parts to every trial. Liability, meaning is the other person actually at fault? Did they cause your injuries? And then damages. Were you actually injured? Do you actually have harms and losses? Those are the two main questions for every PI case. Do you know how the Esquire came about for a title for lawyers? I've always wondered that. Somebody has told me that before, Tori, but I do not know the answer as we sit here today. Rich Cat Ranch, would it be outside the scope of your practice to work a case like the Bryant case there? Probably outside the scope. It's one we could consider and maybe bring somebody else in on, but probably not. Right. It's very similar. There's a lot of similarities to what we do, but I do think the fact that it was Bryant's family makes a difference in the claim and bringing it before a jury as well. RL Boise, in a previous chat, you mentioned things you don't do, like speak to the police. You mentioned there were other things. What were they? Speak to the insurance company. don't ever refuse to hire a lawyer if they are free and billing contingent on the outcome of your case. That means they believe in your case and they're willing to fight and not get paid unless you get paid. So why wouldn't you hire a lawyer in that situation? It's just my opinion. Don't ever try to like explain yourself to the police, not even talk to them, but just if you think you have a really good explanation, it can always be used against you. Never sign documents without reading them. If on the document it says I've had the opportunity to speak to a lawyer and I have, but you actually haven't, don't sign it. You should go speak to a lawyer, talk to them about that document. It's worth however many, a couple $100 it takes for them to read that document because it's probably significant. Even when documents are, large, like closing documents on a house, read them all before you sign them. There are probably more. I can do a video of a list of things that I always do or would never do. Cheryl, would you appear on mainstream TV to give commentary or legal opinion on a case if the opportunity arose, or would you rather stick to YouTube? No, I have done some. I don't know if you say mainstream TV, but like news channels. Yeah, I've been on different news channels. Would be happy to. So Rich Cat, I cannot, like my 10 biggest settlements are all confidential. But that's okay. We do not do workers' comp, Deborah, but we work with a firm right next, like just up the street from us on work comp cases, and they're great, and we work together with them. Patty, we have dash cam video. They're just being jerks. Wow. Well, that's great evidence to have. And there are things that your insurance company defense lawyers can file against them that if it's a frivolous claim or you go ahead and you go win, you can try to collect attorney's fees from them or anything you've lost from them. So hopefully they're doing that for you. Sherry and Max, are you near the 12th Circuit Court that started the fantastic mental health court? We are thinking of starting their model in our area. Yeah, we have been involved with that and talking with that with the Florida bar. It is very important. We are starting to try to do stuff like that. And if you do, reach out. I'd love to know how it goes in your area. Kate Pike, do insurance companies ever refuse to pay a person's legal fees if they think the person is guilty or unlikely to win their case? No, they can't refuse just because they know you're going to lose. They can refuse if they don't cover you for whatever it is you're being sued for. They can refuse to pay for that, but not just because they think you may lose. Thank you, Azam. Cheryl Maston, are you guys going to cover the Blvd case? I've been following it and going into wormholes with it. It's crazy. We have done a whole series of videos. I believe we have a playlist on our channel. If you go to our channel, hit that subscribe button and check out the Blvd playlist. Yes, we've done a bunch on it. PT question, after MVA in California, one zone insurance company will contact and advise if you don't speak with your carrier, your insurance will not cover your recommendations. So I can't give any specific legal advice on the channel. None of this is legal advice. It's all general. If you have specific questions, shoot me an email. But I will say most people in their insurance contracts, when they sign a contract that this USAA is going to insure me, there are clauses in there that say you will let us know if you're in an accident. You will have a recorded statement. You will contractually do these certain things. And if you don't, we can deny coverage. This may be one of them, but it all depends on the insurance contract that you signed. Julia Marie, question. Hi, Peter. Catching my first live. Could you please talk about IIED and how it plays out in court? What evidence is admissible, typical outcomes, etc.? I think many people would benefit from that info. So, Julia, I would love for you to get our deep dives into this, which Gabby Petito's parents suing Brian Laundrie's parents in Florida, in Sarasota County, right? Kind of just outside of our back door here in the Tampa Bay area. We talked a ton about this because that's exactly what they filed under. It's very difficult. And in Florida, you have to be in the zone of impact. There has to be something that was actually done to you. It can't just be that you heard something happen and that created an IIED. And they don't even say that you're not under emotional distress. The courts basically agree you're under emotional distress. We just couldn't possibly, make everybody pay for everybody that was distressed every time somebody else got hurt. So it's a very intricate and difficult thing to break down, but we did it in detail in those Petito case playlists. So please go check that out. I don't have enough time to really do a deep dive today. Kim Ripley, what's up, Kim? Is annual membership available? Couldn't find that option. Just curious if you want to share how much has your business grown percentage since YouTube and so many have gotten to know you. Yes, the business has grown. It's hard to put an exact amount on it, but we are signing cases from YouTube. People are finding us from YouTube to handle their injury cases, which is awesome because when somebody calls from YouTube, it feels like we know each other. They talk to me like they know what I think and say about certain cases. And it's like a much better stepping stone than just somebody that clicks on Google and has never, seen us or heard any videos or knows what we're about. So it's really fun to kind of start off a couple steps down the road relationally with people that hire us on YouTube. So yes, it has been growing. I don't think we have an annual membership. If we do, I will let you know. New Chris, my B-day is September 4th. That's my B-day. You're an attorney based on everything you've seen. Will Donald Trump ever be indicted for anything? I've got a lot of questions on these. Honestly, I haven't looked into it that much, and it's so politically polarizing. And people are going to say you're too hard on Donald Trump or you're not hard enough on Donald Trump. From everything I've seen, it sounds like an indictment should be coming based on all of the resources and all of the time and all of the taxpayer dollars that they're investing into this and everything that's being reported. It seems like charges should be coming. It would be surprising and rare to have criminal charges come against a former United States president. So that's kind of leaning on the other side, but I would lean towards yes, but I don't know. We'll see. All right, Rayanne Moldenhauer would love the tour. What's up with the Tom Girardi case? So let me just do it quick here because I have 3 minutes left, and it's a hard out. I got to get to a depot here soon. So Tom Girardi, there was an article written that an appellate court judge bought a beachside condo, and on closing day, Tom Girardi wired $300,000 to her account to close on this beach condo. Turns out they were having an affair. And it turns out it was not wired even from his personal bank account. It wasn't wired from his firm's fee account. It was wired from his firm's trust account. A trust account in a law firm is literally the client's money. Fee account, operating account, that's our money. That's what we've already made. If we want to take it, that's between us and our partners. The trust account is literally stealing money from our clients. And he didn't just steal it for his wife or for his glam squad or for whatever. He stole it to help buy a beachside condo for an appellate court judge that he was having an affair with. And it turns out the trust account and the settlement money he took that from was from a class action lawsuit from a bunch of victims who got cancer because of a product. I think it was a cement field or something that when they breathed in the certain air, they got lung cancer and died. And their families were waiting for that money. They never got that money. And they are part of the bankruptcy lawsuit now trying to get money from Tom Girardi's estate. And the more I hear about these stories, the more culpable, obviously, not only is Tom Girardi, but are all of the lawyers and all of the staff in his firm. Because a guy at his age, dealing with as many cases as he's dealing with, there's no way he could have just been wiring trust money everywhere on his own. People had to be helping him with this. And to me, anybody that ever thought it was okay, I would expect my paralegal to at least question if I'm taking trust money and wiring it to somebody for closing on a beach condo. I would hope they would say something to me. And I would hope they would quit if we were doing things like that. And if any other lawyers in our firm were doing that, you better believe there'd be a fight and there'd be a discussion and it would be put an end to and reversed immediately. So to me, it just is more terrible, despicable stories piling on top of Tom Girardi at this point. Let's see. Renee Price, have you ever played Silverado Resort in Napa Valley? Sure, no, but me and my wife were supposed to go to Napa Valley on our 10-year anniversary, which is in July, and we got married in 2010, which brings our 10-year anniversary to July 2020, and our trip got canceled because of COVID. But if we ever go there, and I have that shirt, you better believe I'll be playing Silverado Resort in Napa Valley. All right. So that is all we have for today's little lunchtime live. Brianna doesn't know who Tom Girardi is. He's married to Erica Jane, who is a housewife of California somewhere, big time PI lawyer. He's the PI lawyer that his firm was what the movie Aaron Brockovich with Julia Roberts was about. He has plane crash victims, huge class action lawsuit victims, and he basically stole money from everybody to keep up with his lifestyle. At least that's what the allegations are. That is who Tom Girardi is. Sorry, I did not explain that in the beginning. But I appreciate everybody joining me. There will be more videos and more lives and more giveaways this week. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button and follow us on Instagram and Twitter too. We're doing some giveaways there. Starbucks gift card still has some money on it last time I checked. We have given away, I think, a mega pint. We're giving away some shirts and some other gift cards. So just make sure you're subscribed everywhere. We'll have fun the rest of the week celebrating 2 years. Hopefully we can get to 150K here pretty soon, maybe by the end of September. So if you have a friend that's not subscribed, get them to go hit that subscribe button so we can keep growing the community and having fun together. I appreciate all of you. As always, this was fun. Until next time, I'm out of here.